Alrighty then. It's been a while, but life got really busy. It's that time of the year again. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Also the most busiest time of the year. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's this first one. Yeah, there it is. So I actually did make changes to it. Like, look at it now. Did make significant improvements to texture and detail and stuff. Now I did record this, and I was planning on just having it be sort of like a montage, like a 400% the speed montage, but the recording didn't work. I think it was because the resolution was set incorrectly, because I was recording some retro footage prior to that, and I forgot to set it back to 1080p. But that's okay. So I've been thinking about what other interesting stuff could we do here. I think what we should do is we should make this into some kind of big structure. So this is, obviously we have this sort of electronic section here, so let's just include some kind of like computer station that regulates this equipment here. And yes, I am aware that the textures here are using computer textures, but I mean, like, just try something else here, something like this. We'll add some stairs there. Hopefully these sections won't get all messed up. Well, I guess that would work. Yeah, that does work. Cool. I think we got stairs leading out again, so this area is going to be a big computer area. In fact, what I think I'll do is I'll just extend this. Yeah, actually, I think what we might want to do is make this section narrow, because I've got a plan for making this look more interesting. What we could do is we could make everything sort of intersect with the outside, so it's not just, it doesn't just lead to outside, but it's part of the outside, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I don't need to do this all the time, it's just force of habit. A lot of the time I can just do that, but as you can see back there, I accidentally opened this window, and if you're not close enough, like if you zoomed out, if you're not close enough to it, then it's not gonna connect to where I want it. That's why I just do this. It's just so much easier. Yeah. Okay, so now we're just gonna create a window. I don't remember how the default window works. Just let me take a look at something. Let's just save this. I'm gonna quickly open Doom 0. I'm going to take a look at how I did the windows there, because vanilla handles windows. Okay, that's what I thought. There has to be two sectors, one that is above the window and one that is below the window. So let's go back. So in ZDoom or GZDoom or a few other source ports of Doom, you're going to have these windows don't need this extra sector, but vanilla does. Vanilla handles things a little differently. Okay, now we do need to just fix this door. It's just easier just to copy this stuff. Okay, so I also redid the texture for the door. I think that that this looks a lot better. Actually, it looks really cool. I kind of wish I used this more in Doom 0, because I was limited to, I limited myself to just the same old textures, like the traditional door textures, like these ones and these ones here. I haven't really used this texture all that often. We just need to see how this was done. Okay, so this, yeah, again, my old habits die hard. I'm always like, let's see, R's to reset. I'm always like doing this. I have to try to stop doing that. Okay, let's yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not perfect because like this doesn't have shading on the side, but oh well, it's fine for now. Okay. Now I did realize when I recorded last time that that this texture here created a very, very noisy artifacting on the compression of a YouTube video. So I'm going to pick a different default texture. Something simpler, something that's not so... I think I'm just going to have to go with that plain gray texture. Or there's this one. Yeah. Let's just turn the lights on because it's kind of dim here. Okay. Alright, let's do the windows. Alright. So this one goes all the way down. That one stays up. And we can sort of make a window. Of course I have to do that. It's R, Chris. Remember, it's R. 1, 2, 3, and 1 pixel. So that way it's as low as possible, but the player won't climb up on it, onto it. Seems like I messed up. Oh yes, it's supposed to be just the middle textures and then the upper texture. You think that I cannot believe this is the guy that made Doom Zero. He's so clumsy. Yeah, you forget half the stuff that you built when you were doing it almost on a daily basis. And I haven't done this in well over a month since our last recording. But before that, I haven't done it in many months prior to that, and it doesn't sound like a very long time, but you do forget a lot in that time frame. Yeah, it's very technical. I think part of the reason is that like Doom Builder isn't the only editor that I use, and every other editors for other games, or even our own editor that we're using to build Falconet, their shortcuts are different. So the shortcut for clearing the texture, the shortcut for changing texture alignments, all of that stuff, or even just rotation of the camera, like the controls are different. So sometimes it takes me a little while. Actually, I want to use a proper step texture. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 1 pixel. And I think that was 1, 2. I think that was also 3. I think instead of having a door there, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to... Right, I think what I'll do is I'll make it 1 pixel over. Yeah, I think right here. Trying to work between the grid, these lines here between the grid lines has its challenges, but it's actually kind of fun because that's when you produce try to be really creative. Now, should I just do a normal door, or should I do a door just like this one? I think this time I'm just going to do a normal door, but instead of it have it speak properly, Chris. Instead of just having it be a normal door that opens and closes, I think I'm just going to do the same like I did with the sliding doors. Yeah. And just have it be sort of half open. Alright. That should be enough. Now this doesn't need to be, I don't need to change the pegged and unpegged of that door because the door's not going to be moving anyways. I actually still like these doors here. Let's make it white or grey to make it consistent with like this door. Okay, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring this up. Whoops. Did I accidentally select this? Yes, I did. Take it all the way to the top. It's not often that I do a very tall door. Most of the time I just sort of cut the door over there. And most people do that, even the developers at id Software do that sometimes. Yeah, I think that looks cute. It's not often that you see maps with broken doors or half open doors, that sort of thing. You know, after some time you do miss building Doom maps. And it's not just because, you know, Doom is cool and fun and stuff, because playing the game is fun, but building the map in and of itself is fun. And I think it just has to do with, you know, what interesting things can we do with level design. There's so many things we can do. Let's make it, how high does that need to be? Not too high. That should be fine. Okay. By the way, if you guys are wondering why I suck at looking for textures, is mostly because I just, you know, I don't know if it's a form of dyslexia, but I just can't see things very easily. There's nothing wrong with my eyesight. It's just hard. It's just hard for me to see things. Open up a drawer, trying to look for a pencil, and I'm like, there's no pencil. And then, like, I don't know, like a friend or one of my parents will be like, there's a pencil right there. Didn't you see it? No, I didn't. This is not symmetrical. There we go. And I think what I'll do is I'll extend this into a passageway. So we'll just do something like this. And because it's a passageway, we don't need to add a door. So we'll just leave it like this. You know, that's a pretty wide passage. Let me just take a look and try to get a sense of how wide it is. Yeah, it's actually pretty wide. I don't want it to be that wide, or else we'd have a lot less room to work with. So the thing I'm going to do is, if you guys have played Doom 0, kind of similar to map 18, where you have like this this sort of upper computer area, and then takes you outside to almost not a maze, but definitely something more interesting than just a big empty room. So I think it would probably be smart if I took the approach of just, I don't know, I guess add some dividers here to separate each room from the other. Well, not room, but just to have some sort of distinction between each section of this computer area. It's my muscle memory of some of the other editors is really messing with me, because I was like, why can't I zoom in and zoom out? And it's because I was holding down shift, because there are lots of other editors out there that use shift for zooming, or control. I think it's usually control. Yeah, at first it looks kind of weird, but I think this is gonna look neat. I'm gonna divide this. Whoops. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's just do that. Ugh. You see why I do it? It just doesn't go where I want it to. I wonder if someone is going to be like, you can prevent that from happening if you click on this thing, or if you hold down this key. And it's just like, I've tried everything. Most people are just a lot more accurate than me. Like they'll just get it right. But you know, when I'm in a hurry to build a shape, because I don't want to spend that time just building the shape, that to me is not interesting or fun, but sort of adding detail and adding little cool design quirks and stuff, like to me that's a lot of fun. So I think what I'll do here is I think I'll add some stairs here. So yeah, I think we'll do that. And I suppose we can make this into you know what, I think let's make this into a door also. And I think we'll make this into a door as well. Just make sure everything's lined up. Hang on. Did I? Oh, I did. Silly me. So we're just going to add some doors here because these are going to take us outside. That's going to take us outside. Except this is going to take us down to the bottom floor where this floor is. So let's do that. Okay, so let me just make sure that it is 3. I don't remember. 1, 2, 3. Okay. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. Cool. I always like to have a space here, so that because when you have stairs that are too close to the door, it just looks weird, it just looks cramped. So I always leave like a big space at the bottom to where the door is. When I built map 1 of Doom Zero, I was like, wow, these doors, they look terrible. And it was because of the stairs were just too close to them. Now, I think I probably would have still had the... What am I doing? This doesn't need to go down. Anyways. But, you know, looking back at map 1, I probably would have left an even bigger gap. But, you know, that's probably just me being all nitpicky and stuff, so it doesn't matter. You do need to be mindful of using too many textures if you want it to be vanilla compatible, simply because in vanilla you want it to, like, especially if you want the game to actually work on a retro computer, you don't want the game to use too much RAM. So you try not to use too many textures or place textures in places where you can't see them, like this for instance. Like that doesn't need to be... That doesn't need to have textures on both sides. I really don't know how much memory. It could literally just be a few bytes. Like not even a few kilobytes, but just a few bytes difference. But you know, every little helps. So let's raise this all the way to the top. Or, actually, you know what? I'm going to do this instead. This door will be different. Yeah, something like that. This door will just be shorter. It's fine. That means this ceiling doesn't have to be so high. However, I would like this to be lower. You know what? Let's just keep it consistent. Doesn't matter, no one's gonna care, but... I mean, there's tons of things that gamers don't care about that developers do care, or modders. Alright. I guess what we could do is we could just connect these two ends. I'm not going to make this a really huge map. Like after this section, then we'll add the exit. But you know, a lot of people tend to always make maps that are, you know, quite frankly, tend to be, in my opinion, just way too big. There's some maps that are so astronomically huge that it becomes such a daunting task that I'd rather just not play it. Now I get that you got some hardcore players out there that love big maps that have like a gazillion monsters in them. I'm just not one of those people. Should we have the map wrap around, or should we just sort of stop it here? I think we'll just have it sort of stop here. In my opinion, if you can make a map without monsters that is still fun to traverse, then that means you've made a good map. One of the maps that are extremely popular that people love is Dead Simple from Doom 2. I've never really liked it all that much, but it's not because I think that American McGee sucks at building maps. It's just that he literally had like, I think he had like a day to make that map. And bear in mind, back in those days, they didn't have the tools that we have. So it took a much longer time building the map and kind of tools that they had. They don't even have like a 3D viewer. They would literally have to boot up the game just to see what the map looks like in 3D. This is why I don't think it's a fair comparison, comparing new maps to the old, because times are totally different than what they used to be. Alright, so this is actually going to stay up. In fact, we don't even need this wall. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that. Oh, try the other way. Nope, didn't work. Oof, okay. Let's see. Why is this not working? I can do this. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's so weird. So I think you go from top to bottom. Okay. And maybe left to right, I guess, to isolate this sector and not cause all of these voids to fill up. Okay, so I guess what I'll do is I'll just add a 1, 2, 3 plus one little step so that it's as low as possible, but you can't step over it. And the reason why you want to do that instead of always adding a invisible border is because sometimes, you know, who knows, maybe you want to add a flying monster like a cacodemon. And I added a door there, and I really didn't need to add a door there. Kind of wasted my time with this. We do not need this door. We can bring this down. Alright, let's add the sky. Probably a good idea to test the map. First I need to just fill in any empty textures. You know, I really don't know why I keep highlighting both the top and bottom. You only need to highlight one of them. Yeah. Alright, so this, just for the sake of consistency, this here is 224. So this is 224. You know, one of the cool things you can actually do, which I kind of didn't really do here, but I guess you could do it here, is you could add shadows, but that's probably going to make things too difficult, because it only works with certain shapes, certain type of structures. If you don't know what I mean by shadows, like angular shadows, I'll quickly show a screenshot of a map that I did many years ago, where I wanted to make a map that looked like it had more sophisticated lighting than what the engine was truly capable of, but I don't think I'll be doing it here. Huh, it's not working. Oh, because this is highlighted. Now usually you don't need to add a tag there for number 1 or for anything that has a D in it, but for everything else you will need to add a tag to the door there. Alright, let's see what it looks like. I'm actually quite surprised how far I went without testing it. Oh wait, that door cannot open. Alright. This needs to be around. Swapped around. Alright, that looks good. That's easy to move through there. That's a really high door. I don't usually do very high doors because, as you can see, it doesn't sync up with the audio because the audio is shorter than the speed at which the door is moving. I also need to change the peg of these. I think I did change that one, so that's fine. Did I change this one? No, I didn't, because it doesn't need to be changed. I don't remember if it's upper peg or lower peg. I think it's lower peg. Yeah, it's lower peg. Okay. You know what would be funny is if the door's like not closed all the way, and but you can still open it. I don't know. Does that sound stupid? I think it would be kind of funny, kind of neat. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I might not go through with that. I might just get rid of it if it just looks too stupid. In game, that is. Now to add some windows, but instead of doing traditional windows, I guess there are different kinds of windows we can explore. Let's not do that. Oh, flip. How do I just do one little dot? Oh, okay, like that. That's, you can tell that it's not something I do very often. And is this even the right size? Does that look about the same? Do these look as wide? Let's see, that's 16. Yeah, I think that is correct. So yeah, I would like to just do something like this. More interesting than just typical window. Cool. Should they just stay like that, or should I narrow it? I think these should be a different texture entirely. Like maybe this texture. Yeah. But let's have everything be the same. Yeah. What we could do is we could add a little bit of interesting lighting. Because it's not direct sunlight, so it's ambient light. So ambient light can be different. Okay, so this is 224 and this is 192. I think we should just do 160 all across. So that's 192, 170, 160. So all of these should be 160. Okay. Just out of curiosity, what is that? That's 140. Okay, cool. Alright, and this should be 144. 192, that's fine. In fact, just to be consistent, again, it's ambient light, so the rules are different from direct light. So you try to like, I don't know if this is going to go over the vis plane limit when I add these little details, but you know, I think it's worth exploring just to make something look cooler. I should try to place the appendix whoops, as I like to call it, in the void, so it will just disappear. By the way, scientists have now figured out what the appendix is. It turns out that it's not a useless organ. It actually does serve a purpose. It's part of the, just like the tonsils, it's part of the immune system. And also it's also acts as sort of like a nursery for good bacteria. So, and it actually has a surplus of bacteria than the rest of your gut. So that if you were to have some kind of illness that kills a lot of the bacteria in your gut, then the appendix would release more of the good bacteria to fight off the infection. So yeah, it turns out that everything in our bodies are not useless. That there's always a reason for something. Okay, so that's what it looks like with lighting. It's probably not gonna really be noticeable, but that's okay. I still think it looks cool. I think it's pretty neat. Of course, we can't add that effect to the door because it has to be one sector. Can't divide that, but that's okay. Now, I think the lighting is done, except this needs to be sorry, what's this? Hold on, that doesn't make sense. Oh, it's this one. I was looking at the wrong one. Cool. Now everything looks so painfully flat, but that's what the auto contrast is for. The auto contrast is like it changes the light levels. I don't know why it's called auto contrast, because it's actually not contrast, it's literally just brightness. But you see like the levels, they add some, the light levels between that wall versus that wall is different, so it makes things look less flat and gives it more mass to it. Alright, now before we wrap things up for now, one thing I would like to do is I'd like to add some kind of like trench around here just to make things more interesting. So I think what we'll do is we'll just do that. Let's make this wider. And then we'll just add another one. You know what? Let's just do this. I don't know how many people do this. It seems like not too many. But what's cool about this is that if you sort of separate these two sectors, and you think that they're separate sectors, but they're not. Whatever you do to the one will affect the other. See? So, and there's a lot of really cool tricks that you can do with that. So for instance, if you're opening a door, in fact I might actually do that to this door, to stop the door from opening all the way, like have it just stop like there, like this door for instance. I could just add a sort of like a donor, not a donor, like a clone sector to that is adjacent to another sector that's lower than this sector, so it will make this door just stop there and not go all the way to the top. So there's lots of really cool things you can do. And since there's a void right here, we can build that sector in here. So we can just do that. So we got our clone sector. And I guess we'll just... Whoops. Actually, you know what? Let me just divide this one. Alright, now let's see. Which one is the door? That's the door. Okay. So all we need to do is just... You know, let's make it nice and big so I can actually see what I'm doing in 3D mode. Okay. Alright, so this wall is just a normal wall. This is the part that's going to move. Okay. Except it moves up. So we'll move the adjacent texture to... how much was this door? I want to have it be the same as this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so... Alright, so this is the floor. Alright, so let's... well, actually, what we could do is we just need to raise it up to this sector here. One thing I like to do, you're probably looking at this and slightly confused, but like I'm a very visual person. I like doing things in 3D. I'm pretty sure that's the same height. Actually, what was the number? What was the number that doors would open to? Okay, let's just quickly move our guy so we don't have to keep running through this map. Oops, wrong one. How many pixels is that, give or take? So that's probably 3 pixels. 1, 2, 3. No, it's 4. It's 4 pixels. So that means we actually have to raise this by 1, 2, 3, 4. Because you want this to open exactly where it's supposed to. Okay, I'm hoping I didn't miscalculate or something like that. Now, of course, we're not going to need these textures, so we can just get rid of them. It might look like I'm doing nothing, but if you right click on all of these, then it will get rid of the textures, as you can see. Now sectors, they keep their textures. You can't get rid of those, which is fine because we don't want the doors textures to disappear either. But it doesn't matter. The engine doesn't give you the ability to have no floor textures because, well, the floors, they're actually not textures. They're I don't know what you call them, but they're sort of like a Mode 7 style graphics, like just 2D planes that are distorted to give the illusion of 3D. Alright. Oh, whoops. Just in case you guys hear sort of this background noise, it's because my air conditioning unit is on. Because it can get really hot here in South Africa during the middle of summer, and it's now December, and our summers in the southern hemisphere is in December, not in July, like it is in other countries. All I have to do now is just test this door. Okay, but I realized what I did wrong. The height is right. I just need to add the 5 steps. Okay, now this is like really narrow. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, let's try that again. So it stops there. See? And then it will close all the way just because... You know what? I think instead of having it close all the way, I think we're just going to have it do it once. So let's look for D... What's it called? It's called D1. D1 door open stay. Okay, cool. 31. I should have just highlighted both of them. Alright, let's make sure that that doesn't mess with anything. I don't know, like, I'm very confident, but there are times when I make really stupid mistakes. and it seems to just stay open. This, yeah, I mean, look, no one's gonna do that. No one's gonna tap the use key when the door is already open, and that's just, you know, that's just one of the things you just have to deal with, just have to ignore, because no one's really gonna care. I'm still not quite happy with the lighting here, so I think I'm gonna improve that, and in fact I'm gonna take it even further with this one as well. I'm gonna drop this down. Well, what level is this? That's 160. I'm actually kind of confused. Is this 160? Oh, you know what I did wrong? Okay. What I did wrong was this. That's why it looks different. And then we'll just cut those in the middle, drag them there. I know it looks confusing, but alright. And this actually is supposed to be, no, that's correct. Alright, well, who knows if that's gonna look good in the end, because like it looks really obvious here, but as soon as I start up the game, the lighting is just a bit different. Yeah, you see, I think it's the you know what? I know what it is. It's okay, yeah. It's the contrast. It's the angular contrast. So this one needs to be darker. That one needs to be darker. Yeah, interesting. Now all the doors, just by coincidence, happen to be facing in the same angle, so I don't have to mess with those. So I think what we'll do is we'll just lower this a bit more, or better yet, we can just leave this the same, but let's see, let's drop this by 1, 2, and we'll drop this by 1. Alright, so it should be even more exaggerated here, but when you play the game it won't be as exaggerated. Okay, so this one, we also want this to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. Let's see what that does. Cool. I like it. That's what my solution to ambient light is. Yeah, I don't know, it's something I've never done before, and I just really like it a lot. It looks really cool. It's such a dumb little thing, but I don't know, I like it. It makes a big difference, I think. Alright, we need to add a step there in order to stay consistent, because there's a step there. Wait, where are we? Okay, there we go. Make sure that this is all 0, because it has to be 0. It's not going to matter with the texture like this. Alignment is just not an issue. This is why I like working with these textures, that it doesn't matter if they're not lined up properly, that it still looks fine. Okay, so now I just want to do the trench thing. I think for now, because I've been doing this for quite a while, I think what we'll do is we'll do a basic trench. So nothing fancy, just very simple. Actually, I think what I'll do is I'll just move this here, give the player a little bit of breathing room so they don't automatically go into the trench without intending to, because when you run downstairs you actually speed up, which I guess, you know, it makes sense, but at the same time, not all games are like that. So like Quake, for instance, Quake isn't like that. You don't gain more speed when you run downstairs unless you do strafing. And when I mean strafing, I don't mean strafe jumping. It is the same principle, but you don't need to jump in order to speed up in Quake. You just need to sort of move in sort of like a snake-like pattern Um, okay, so I think one of the things I'll do is, similar to this, like so that we can have, in a way, floors over floors, but even though it's not, but the gameplay would play like that. So because you can run across here but still fit through there. Or like you don't even need to run. You could just walk across and you won't fall down. All right. So the reason why I added 2 here is so that I can do this. I say that wasn't going to make it complicated, but as you can see, I'm trying to make it look nice and fancy. So when we do that, so the player can still walk through there, oops, but still have a trench moving through there. Okay. And then we can have another sort of maybe another room here. But you know what? I think I'll do that much later. I think what I want to do here, and it just works perfectly, is, well, maybe not perfectly, but looks okay. I think what I'll do is I'll get rid of this column. It really is overkill. Just have something like that. It's difficult to visualize certain things. Like try to think in 3 dimensions while looking at a 2D map. I don't know, I'll play around with it, see what looks best. So then we got this huge sort of dip, but this can continue on like that. Let me just get rid of this find F. Usually I plan the layout before I plan how something looks, but when it comes to doing a live, well, not a live, but like a unscripted recorded session of map building, it would be way too boring, or it would take me way too long to edit a video that is like literally hours long, just because I spend so much time on the planning stage before I start building a map that plays nicely. So in this case I would just have to make a few compromises, see if we can't just you know what, I think what I'd like to do is something like this. It looks weird from the top, but it won't look weird from the bottom. Man, I hate it when this happens, when things just don't line up. I guess what I could do is this. Yeah. So these don't line up perfectly, but should be okay. I guess another thing I could do is something like this. Yeah. Okay, now let's change the height of these areas. So we got our little trench. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Cool. All right. All we need to do is hopefully all of these sectors are facing the same way. I mean, not sectors, line depths are facing the same way. Okay. Alright. Alright, that means there's some kind of discrepancy. If we do not see a red icon there, that means we have a sector that's not lined up properly. I need to see what's going on here. Oof, that actually makes it hard to... Ah, there we go. That's way easier. Everything looks fine. has to be something else that I'm missing. I don't understand. Oh, it's this one. So we'll just use this normal texture. Obviously we're gonna change all of it, just like I did to, just like I did to this old area where it was a lot plainer, but now I've added more variety in terms of the texturing and stuff. So don't worry, it's not gonna look this plain. Although it would be interesting to make it sort of like each level is like a different I guess you could say darkness of texture. So like this is like a sort of brown, this is a dark brown, this is slightly dark, not as dark, a little lighter. Yeah, that might be interesting. It might be difficult because I don't know how many textures that look similar enough for that effect to work. Alright, all we need to do is just, normally this should actually be a step texture, but I think it would look neater if it wasn't a step texture, so we'll just make this just a normal texture. Yeah, so in this case, if I want to keep the design language to be the same, let's see, how wide is that? That is 3 blocks wide. So this needs to be like that, and this needs to be centered, which is here. No, that's not centered. That's centered. Okay. Oh, that's because this isn't centered. It is, but it's not centered with the grid. Okay, so that means we only need to... No, that's all we need to do. Alright, that looks nice. So, I don't know, I think it would make an interesting map. I just need to figure out like in which order the player should move around in, where the keys should be placed, where the exit should be placed. I'm actually quite happy with this. Let's bring our character back to where he's supposed to be. Put him right... Actually, let's pop him here in the center. Alright. Obviously, there's going to be monsters here, so you won't just rush through all of this decorative space. So, you know, as a player, you'd appreciate the area more. Yeah. It's going to be pretty cool. You can just run across, get to another platform. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I think I will probably do the same like I did last time. Try to record a very quick montage, or maybe just a very brief update that's just a few seconds long, just to show the improvements in textures that I've added. So yeah, until next time.